Thank you. Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is John Taylor, founding master representative for Evolvair. Welcome to tonight's Zoom. I'm with you guys from just outside of Fort Knox, Kentucky, in a place called Elizabethtown. I do get this question all the time, and yes, the GOAT is there, right? So you don't have to do a small inbox or text me or something like, dude, is the GOAT really there? Yes, it is. It's there. I've been here for 8 years, retired Army over 26 years, came up here, got a job, been working up here ever since. And there's a difference, and somebody was asking me this, so I think it was yesterday, just after yesterday's Zoom. They were asking me, they're like, are you actually in Fort Knox? And there's a difference, right? Fort Knox proper is an Army maneuver installation, right? The thing that you see is the depository that is on Fort Knox's property, just off a road called 31W, and it's an ancillary road to Louisville, Kentucky, right? So when you see that nice opaque building out there, it is on the installation of Fort Knox. However, that's the depository. That's where the gold is. All right. So, and that's about it. The installation is a large installation, holds about 20,000 soldiers at any given time, plus trainees. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, again, my name's John Taylor. I'm the founding master representative for Evolvair, health and wellness company, right? All right. The owner of this company is named Robert Hunt, and we're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. Now, if you didn't get that post that I just put out there on Facebook, we're going to be giving away a 60 scoop tub of LP9. There's a couple of rules that you have to follow, so I want you to follow me now, right? You must text these five letters in order to 40691. When everybody write that down, you will text these letters in order to 40691. And I'm going to give you the first letter now, right? And we're going to give you letters throughout the conference. And the first letter is going to be E as in echo. It's E as in echo, right? Feel free to ask questions in the Q&A. Feel free to text if you have my phone number. If you see me drop my head or something like that, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm answering questions, or I'm trying to do some weird math problem. No, I'm kidding. This is a series of Zooms that you're going to see as you're getting more information about Evolvair, as you're gathering your teams and learning how to build. You're going to see some dynamic things happen as you're at the absolute ground floor of this organization. And that's about the best way to be if you're going to build a business, okay? So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur and you want to know how to build a good business, this is about the best place that you can be. And I'm going to talk about opportunities and things like that later. I'm going to introduce my good friend and brother, Rob Hunt. Again, Rob Hunt, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's been there. He's done that. Just a dynamic, all-around good guy. And kind of interesting how he and I ran into each other. And I'm going to let you know why I'm at where I'm at right now and why you should be right with us and with this growing organization. So, Rob, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy. How's it going?
It's going all right. Hey, Rob, we're going to talk about some things tonight. We're going to talk about the organization, what your vision for the organization is, products, the compensation plan, and then as the time is going on, I'll chime in if somebody has any questions, and I'll let you know. How about that?
Right on, whatever you want. This is your webinar, buddy.
All right. Take it away for me, please.
All right, so let's talk about products. John wanted me to come in and talk about why LP9 and what the deal is there. So, not everybody's been able to hear this part of the story, but LP9 was actually developed for me, and that's our first product that we have in Evolvair is the LP9, and that's part of the Humagenics product line. That's our nutraceutical line that we have. Now, LP9, I'm going to go ahead and go to the About page, shake things up a little bit. Usually I don't, but I'm going to go ahead and go to that. LP9 was developed for me. I'm going to try not to sneeze, guys. I got one of those sneeze things going on right in the middle of a webinar. Isn't that cool? So I've been an athlete my whole life, and I damaged my legs, long story short on those, and put on weight and decided it was time to make a change, and had some surgeries done to my legs, and was dealing with inflammation, dealing with learning how to walk again. And so I developed a product and did some research, and the product was actually, it wasn't a product yet. It was just something I was taking, and I figured out how to mix different things together and make them all work synergistically, but mix them in certain ways and in a certain order to optimize performance. And it was doing so well for me personally that my wife said, hey, you need to share this with our other folks. And I'm like, okay. So I started sharing it with some people. In fact, one of the first people that I shared this with outside of, no, I'm going to say he was in my close-knit circle is a guy by the name of Steve Canellis that's on the call. If we get a chance, we'll have him come on a little bit later. The product in its raw form, I believe he's the only person that's tasted it outside of my, actually the only person outside of my household that's tasted it without it having any flavoring in it whatsoever. And so instead of, most companies, they'll come up with an idea or a concept or a compensation plan or a way to make money. And they'll come up with a gimmick or a product that has some neat story about it that nobody's ever heard of, and they've got to convince everybody of. Well, this company was not born that way. This company was actually born out of product that actually works and product that has ingredients in it that work. And that's really unique. You've heard about product or opportunity-driven products. That's where people have products that they give a list of products that's inside them, and they just want to list these, and they're what's called fairy dusted. They just put a minimal amount in, like micrograms, and call them mgs still, and people think that means milligrams, but it doesn't. So they put a little bit in there, and so you think you're taking something that's going to help you, or you might be taking vitamin, B, vitamin B12, but instead of it being methylated, which is readily bioavailable for you, it's some other form that really is cheap, but it doesn't work, and your body's not going to absorb it or do any good. So, just things like that companies do so that they can push a compensation plan. We didn't even have a compensation plan until this is our second year, almost starting our third year here within a few months. So we're over a year and a half into this, and we just barely have our compensation plan finished. We've had a product that's been out, for over a year and a half now, and we've had 0 chargebacks on that nutraceutical product. And we've done well over, we've definitely done over a couple 100,000 in sales. Product going out the door. We've had 4 returns and 3 exchanges too. And that's really important to know because in the industry, any nutraceutical industry, credit card companies are really hesitant to do any processing for nutraceutical companies because of the chargeback rates. So that lets you know that we're something that is very unique and very it's special. It's pretty cool. So let's talk about LP9. And one thing I want to talk about is what it supports. Now, be thinking in terms of yourself. It doesn't matter whether you're an athlete, even though we're going to talk about athletics here in a little bit. It doesn't matter whether you are somebody that's just working in the garden, somebody that just wants to feel good, somebody that's losing weight, somebody that's gaining weight. And we want to let you know that this isn't, when we're talking about weight, this isn't a weight loss product. Now, it can be used as a weight loss supplement. There's a difference. There's a lot of products out there that people say, take this and you're going to lose weight. Well, anytime somebody says, take a magic pill and you're going to lose weight, run. In my opinion, don't take it, because I've seen that those are usually not good for you, and they usually don't work. Now, if you're losing or gaining or doing what we call a body transformation, it's a good idea to have good support and good supplementation on board, because quite frankly, the food we have nowadays does not have what it had in it 200 years ago. Okay, oranges were never the size of grapefruits. They were smaller. So looking at that, we've got some nutritional deficiencies in our diets, and it's good to have these key elements in there to give our body the building blocks that it needs. So what does LP9 do? It supports increased endurance and energy while improving blood flow and boosting nitric oxide levels. Now, if you don't think blood flow is important, take your hands. I always tell people this: take your hands, stick them around your neck, and give it a good squeeze for about 30 seconds. Tell me how you're feeling. After you pick yourself up off the floor, you'll understand blood flow is good. Nitric oxide levels, that does a lot of good stuff. I'm not going to get really into the nitric oxide levels in your body and what that does. You can go ahead and Google that on your own. You're going to hear me say Google a lot in here, because we can't make any claims, but I can point you in directions for information. Healthy body mass and athletic activities and fighting inflammation and muscle pain, those are huge. You don't have to be an athlete to have inflammation and muscle pain, right? In fact, some athletes and some bodybuilders want to have inflammation, but you don't, want to deal with that on a daily basis. And this gives you some things that supports that. Recovery time placed on stressed muscles. Who doesn't stress their muscles? I did some yard work last week, and I'll tell you what, my muscles were stretched. I didn't even go into the gym. Athletic performance by offering respiratory support and aids in rest periods. So this does some really good things. Now, if blood flow is increased, you've got nutrients where it's supposed to go, doesn't that make sense that your respiratory system is going to have help? Well, yes, but take a look at the pine bark extract and what that does for your respiratory system. Okay, Google that. Healthy collagen. Collagen, people think, is just something that's going to make your skin elastic. Well, yes, but why does it do that? Well, because it helps support your connective tissues. What are connective tissues? Cartilage, tendons, maybe? Just start thinking about what's in your joints, what connective tissues are, and look those up. Find out what are your blood vessels and veins and that made out of? What's your cardiovascular system made out of? So start thinking about connective tissues and how important connective tissues are and what role they play in your musculoskeletal support. So let's go ahead and scroll. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I like to kind of follow this along. A healthy cardiovascular system and blood flow. It also means blood flow for those of us that like blood flow down south of the border of the Beltline. We're talking about for those activities that we like to do in the evenings as adults. It's really, really good for you guys. There's things in there, and there's six of the products in here are actually used for that specific thing. But it just so happens that they cross over and help out with a lot of other things as well. And I'm going to give you the list of ingredients here in a minute, and then you can actually come back on the website and look at the ingredients, and you can Google them. In fact, some people say, well, what does it do for this ailment or this disease or this or that? Well, we don't claim to cure anything. We can't do that. But you can take the ingredients and whatever you may have, whether it's high blood pressure, low blood pressure, sleep issues, things like that. You can Google that and Google each ingredient and see if there's any benefit, or if there's any support there, right? So what does it do? What does all this mean? It helps you with peak performance. Well, that's great for athletes, but it's also great, once again, for those evening times. It's also great. Who doesn't want to perform well in doing anything? You want to walk down the street. You want to perform well. You want to feel better, right? Supports giving your body the building blocks it needs to repair itself. supports healthy exercise and nutritional program. There's a lot of things in here that are really good for the gut, really good for digestion. Now, people don't think blood flow, is that going to help with digestion? Well, absolutely, blood flow is going to help with digestion. Think about it. Okay. You've got body transformation programs, digestive system, internal organs. You want to support all your internal organs as well. Calcium absorption. A lot of people will take calcium pills, but they don't realize you've got to have the right kind of calcium, but you also have to have the right things on board. Go ahead and Google calcium absorption and vitamin C, right? You want to take a look at that and see if that helps, right? Supports the body being in an alkaline state. Google what the alkaline state does for the body. In fact, Google what happens when the body's in an acidic state, what the liver does with blood sugars, okay? And there's certain foods out there that put the body in an acidic state. Dairy products. Go ahead and research on those and see and look at that. And it's kind of interesting how people will be on a keto diet, and I call it a dirty keto diet, where they're going to have, sour cream and cream cheese, and they're going to have all these different cheeses and stuff like that.
Hey,
it's funny. Go ahead.
Hey, Rob. There was a question that was asked of me earlier today. The difference between dirty keto and clean keto, and I know it's been explained. I know it's been explained in the next webinar. But
I'll do it right now.
Can you give like 2 minutes for that?
Yeah, one of my favorites. So perfect that you interrupted me right there in that. Dirty keto. Dirty keto is where you're getting your fats from bacon. Okay, would be one of them. You're getting your fats from cheeses, from milks, from dairy products, okay, just to make that quick. And it really is easy. It's not even going to take 2 minutes. Clean keto is where you're getting your fats, okay, from your avocados, from your coconut oils, from, those type of oils, maybe some types of nuts in moderation, okay? So that's where you can get your cleaner, that's where you can get clean keto from. So there's a difference between the two, the clean keto and the dirty keto. But what's interesting is your dirty keto usually puts your body in the acidic state, which, and by the way, we're going left field. This is cool. I like this. Put your body in that acidic state, and now your liver's going to start dumping sugar into your bloodstream. So are you really in ketosis? Are you really all the way there? Okay, look that up, and type in, both of those. But look at what alkaline does. Now, if this helps put your body in an alkaline state, are you okay having a little bit of cheese once in a while? Are you okay with, crossing that line of going into dirty keto? Try it. See what happens. See how that feels. So supports muscle growth, great looking skin, of course. Let's go ahead and move on down to who uses it. Well, let's not worry about that. We already know that you're probably going to want to use it. So what's in LP9? It's the perfect blend of L-arginine, L-citrulline. By the way, the cool thing about L-arginine and L-citrulline is L-arginine helps the body increase its nitric oxide levels, right? But it only works for about 60 to 70% of the population. There's 30% that it doesn't work for, right? It doesn't work for everybody. Because it's L-arginine that you're taking in. It's a processed L-arginine, right? Now I'm going to tell you, if you take L-citrulline helps the body create L-arginine. And in the right combination of the two, the L-arginine actually will help the body create its own L-citrulline. It's really weird the way those two things work. We've got the perfect blend in there where they work synergistically together. Now I want to tell you something else that's really cool about L-arginine. Remember this, blood-brain barrier, okay? Blood-brain barrier and L-arginine and human growth hormone, natural human growth hormone. Google that. We don't have time to really get into that, but if you take L-arginine within 15 minutes or less of going to sleep, some really cool things happen when that L-arginine passes the blood-brain barrier. Okay, and some neat things happen with your own HGH. So take a look at that. There's research on that. There's actually, I think, a Pulitzer that was awarded for study on that. So go ahead and look at it, look it up. I'm not going to get into it a lot. L-proline helps with the body's collagen. L-lysine. L-lysine, look up what it does for increasing the body's immune system or immune system booster. Okay, take a look at that. Not just the vitamin C, but the L-lysine. See what that does, and actually type in what the heck. Type in L-lysine and herpes. See what you see. So vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid. Now, we have more vitamin C in this product than your body can possibly absorb, than most people can. And why do we do that? Well, because people are going to metabolize vitamin C differently. An athlete under a lot of stress is going to metabolize differently than somebody that's sitting on the couch, right? So you have plenty of vitamin C in there. It's not very expensive, so we put a lot of it in. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen. In fact, it's one of the 7 known adaptogens that we have, and it helps the body deal with stress. And in the larger quantities that we have in there, it supports hormone levels. Okay. Pine bark extract. Look at what the pine bark extract, do some research and see what the pine bark extract does for the cardiovascular system. Look at what it does, how it supports plaque, how it supports your valves inside your cardiovascular system. See, your heart's not the only thing that pumps your blood. As we're moving our arms and flexing our muscles and our legs and everything, we're squeezing and we're moving blood, right? We also have valves inside our circulatory system that let blood go in only one direction, or that's what they're supposed to do. When they start getting plugged with plaque, and you've got high cholesterol, things like that, but plaque gets in there. Now plaque is something your body uses to cover up cracks inside arteries and that are getting stiff, right? So look that up. Now, what do you think about making them more pliable with collagen production? You know, what if we could make those or support those becoming more, I got to be careful what I say, being more elastic? Are we going to have as many cracks in them? You know, so research that. I want you guys to think on your own here, not just listen to what I have to say, but think on your own, because we could really get into the science of this, and it'd take us over a month of these webinars almost every day to really get into the science of what's going on. Type in MSM, and MSM is basically, really simply put, this is going to be your trying not to sneeze here, plant sulfur, right? And MSM does some amazing things for putting the body in an alkaline state, or supporting the body being in an alkaline state. Does some amazing things for blood sugar levels. Type in MSM and glucose or sugar, or those type of things, and also type in what it does for joints, those type of things. So that's it on LP9. I'm going to get into our other product, but while I'm going over to the next page, John, if you want to go ahead and give them another letter, that would be fantastic.
Got it. I'm on it. The next letter is going to be V as in Victor. Again, that letter is going to be V as in Victor. Okay, so while Rob is transitioning into his next phase here, a little about what this company represents, and a lot of things you're going to see in a company that is starting up and running. So if you're a serial entrepreneur, you already know these ups and these downs. What we're going to try to do is keep you away from the pitfalls of every other company that's out there. However, there will be growing pains, and if you don't have those growing pains, you can't learn, nor can you grow. Okay, so we are going to be as transparent as possible when it comes to the product, when it comes to how we operate, and we want you to ask questions for us, or if you have an idea, we're more than receptive for you to give us your feedback, because that's exactly what we want, and we're in this together. So Rob, you can go ahead and you can pick up, and then I'll talk a little bit more later.
All right, perfect. So we've got Bioform. Bioform is a great product. We talk about things that offer support. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm going to hit some of the key things. supports body transformation, supports restful sleep, supports metabolism, supports liver function. Okay. Now, how does it support these things? How does it support body transformation? Forskolin, or cellulose forskolin, but forskolin is a product that you can do your research on, and you can see what forskolin does with fat cells and being able to utilize fat cells as energy. Okay. It is absolutely amazing. So what I want you to do is go ahead and look at that. But the thing is you can't just take forskolin and make it work. There was people that tried that, and they were like, this doesn't work. Well, correct. You have to have the right transports and digestive enzymes on board with it in order for it to work properly. And we've done that. Okay. Just know that you have to have that. You can't just take it and call it good. Liver function, as we're doing body transformations, as we're living in a polluted environment, as we're doing different things, how important is our liver to us? How important are our kidneys to us? Our liver is really important. We got to have that, right? So having good liver support is extremely important, especially when we're dealing with, glycogen levels, especially, and when we're dealing with toxins, when we're dealing with relieving fat, when we're dealing with all this kind of stuff, because fat actually stores toxins in it. So there's a lot of things that's really good for you in bioform, and it's meant to be used also in conjunction with LP9, and they both work better together. In fact, a lot of supplements that you take or other things that you're taking, even your food digestion, is going to be, you gotta be careful how I say this, will be supported much better. And doesn't that make sense? Because of blood flow, because of support with your internal organs and so on. Okay. Restful sleep's a good thing. Oh, by the way, look some of these things up in sleep deprivation as well, some of the ingredients. So it's pretty cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to do the compensation plan because we really want to get into that. Looks like we're about 30 minutes into this. So I want to move into that and then show you the back office. So let's go ahead. If we want to give, let's see, we've done 2 letters. Let's go ahead and do 1 more letter real quick, and then I'll jump right into the compensation plan, okay?
Okay. All right. Too easy, Rob. Next letter is going to be O. That is O is in Oscar. And I'll go ahead and I'll post this here in a second. So while, again, you ready? Or
yeah, I'm good to go, man.
You good? Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
You got it.
All right, guys. So this is the Evolvair compensation plan overview. Okay, we're not going to go into huge detail, but this is the overview. There's a few things we want to talk about. First of all, there's no monthly requirements to purchase product to get commissions. A consumer is someone that purchases the product. This is either a rep or a customer. So remember, while I'm talking through this, I'm saying consumer or somebody direct. That can be a customer or it can be a rep. Just remember that. And once a commission percentage is reached on a consumer, it never goes up or down. So let's say, for instance, I bring John on board, I'm going to get 10% on John. If I go up in rank, that's not going to change. And if I go down in rank, that's not going to change. So pretty cool. Not very many companies do that. They say once you're earning commission on somebody, that's never going to be taken away. So our first rank is the SR1. And at the SR1, as you bring consumers on board, you're going to get 10% commission, and you can do nothing but bring consumers on board and make 10% commission, and that's just fine, right? And those can be customers. Now, if you want to bring in reps and you want to maximize our compensation plan, then that's really easy. Hang on 1 second. I got somebody jumping on Facebook right in the middle of me doing this. We want to maximize our compensation plan, right? So we're going to bring on folks that are other reps. Well, that's awesome. Now we want to move on. So what's going to happen is we're going to bring in a minimum of 5 reps, and we're going to have 2,000 in sales in our entire organization. Once that happens, now it has to be both, we're going to advance to an SR2K, right? So with that said, you've got your nice little smiley people there that you've brought on board. You're going to make 20% commission on them. Now, as they bring people on board that are consumers, you're going to get 10% roll-ups on them, right? And that's going to be to infinity. How cool is that? So we're going to move on in the compensation plan because now you want to grow a little bit more. So you're going to bring on 5 more reps, which is going to be a total of 10 reps and 25,000 in total group volume, right? You get to advance to the SR 25K or bronze level, right? Where you get 30% commission on all of your reps. Of all of your consumers that come on board from here on out, right? Now, you're going to get 20% on any of those that happen to be reps that bring in sales, right? Now, I want you to take a look at one of these guys. Let's just take a look at the one to the far left, right? And envision that one. So here he is right there. You're making 30% off of him and 20% off the people in his group. Now, when he becomes, that goes down to infinity, you can see that. Now, when he becomes an SR2K, right, you're now going to get 10% commission on the people he personally brings in, yes, to infinity. How cool is that, right? So now, I'm going to show you the next slide. We're going to have a total of 5 folks. So we brought those other guys back in so you could see them. We got a total of 5 more reps, which is 15 total, right? And now you have 75,000 in total group volume in sales. You get to move on to an SR75K, which is going to give you 35% of all of the direct consumers you have and bring on from then on out, right? Now, you're going to get 25% on any of the reps that you bring on that bring people in. Pretty cool, right? And we're going to do another thing. We're going to take another look at the guy to the far left, okay? You're making 35% on him. You're making 25% on the people that he brought in until he reaches the SR2K. And when he reaches the SR2K and brings somebody in, you're going to make 15% off of that one. And that's going to go into infinity, right? Pretty cool, huh? Now, something else fun's going to happen is he becomes an SR25K and brings one in. You're going to get 5% off of all of the directs that he brings in after that, and that come down underneath that person to infinity. How cool is that? Now, you get to do this for every direct that you bring in after you're at that SR75K, every direct that you bring in to infinity in both directions, down and out. That's pretty cool, huh? So let's go ahead and move on to our bonus pools. We're going to take 1.5% of our net sales in the company, right? And we're going to split that into 3 different sales pools at 0.5% each, right? Now, the first bonus pool is going to be set up for people that are at the SR2K level. And when they become that, within 30 days, they qualify to become what's called a founding rep. And that entitles them to a prorated share of that bonus pool. And we're going to talk about how we split that prorated share up here in just a minute. All right, so the next bonus pool is the SR75K or silver level, right? And when you hit that level within the first 90 days, okay, 90 days, you become a founding master rep, which will entitle you a prorated share of that bonus pool, right? Now the next one is also a silver level SR75K. And I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to talk about those first 2. Those first 2 that we just talked about, there is going to be a time limit on those. We're not going to let people be in those after the first year. So there's going to be a limited time people can qualify for those pools. And also there's going to be a limited number. We're working on that limited number right now, so you don't need to worry about it at this point. Just get there, okay? But the idea is we want a limited amount of people in those pools, because can you imagine what 0.5% of a company that hits $100 million or $500 million could be worth? What 0.5% of that is in a bonus pool with a limited amount of people? That's pretty cool. So use your imagination on that. We like to think big here. So this one is ongoing from now on. Like 10 years from now, once somebody hits an SR75K, they have to do it within the first 6 months of joining. They become what's called a silver rep, right? And that will give them entitlement to a prorated share of the bonus pool. Now, how are they split up? What's the prorated share? Well, it's easy. We take each rep in a pool, right? They're going to earn a point for every dollar of sales in their organization. So if they earn 2,000 in sales as an SR 2K, right? That's going to equal 2,000 points, right? We're going to take the total amount of people that qualify. We're going to take the total amount of points earned, and that's going to be split up evenly. So let's say there's $100,000 in there, and I've got 75,000 points, and John has 25,000 points, and somebody else has 25,000 points. I'm going to get 50,000, or I'm sorry, let's just say it's just John and me. I'm going to get $75,000, and John will get $25,000. Just an example, okay? Now, each pool will be, and that's where we kind of explain how each pool is going to be divided according to the amount of points earned by each rep in the pool, right? Now, there's some requirements because these bonus pools and these ranks are designed for people that are builders. If you're not a builder, that's fine. We have the compensation plan that takes care of you. But if you come in and you are a builder and you get down and you work hard, we want to reward you, right? So there are some requirements. One, you must maintain the minimum rank for each pool, 9 out of 12 rolling months, okay? That actually swings in your favor. So we can take any 12-month picture. As long as it's 9 out of 12 months, you're good. Now, if you drop in rank for 30 days, you have 30 more days to regain your rank, right? So simple and easy, guys. That's our compensation plan. I hope you guys liked it. Give me a bunch of ones if you liked it. We're going to be putting that into video soon with a better voiceover view than myself and somebody, so that it's not getting, I stumbled a little bit. This is actually the second time I've tried to do this on webinars. So I'm going to go ahead and close that now. Go ahead and give them another letter, and I'll show what the back office looks like. Okay, John?
Okay, yeah, no worries at all. Okay, so the next letter is going to be L. That's L is in Lima.
Perfect. All right, so.
I'm going to go ahead and post this real quick.
Yeah, so to get in your back office, guys, you're going to go to the website, right? You're going to scroll down to the bottom. And I think we're going to change this sales rep area to back office. That's probably going to be a better thing to call it. But you go to the sales rep area, you click on it, you log in, and you're going to see something that looks like this when you first open it up. And there's going to be some more additions coming in here that you're going to see later. But first of all, one cool thing about this is I can come in here, I can click on my name. There I am right there. And by the way, this is a fake account, so you can see Mr. Tester, different names. These are all fake. So you may see some common names. It doesn't mean anything, right? So I'm going to click on my name. And on my name, it's going to show my information, right? Of course, there's information I don't put in here because I don't want everybody to know what my personal phone number is and all that good stuff. Here's my link to take people right to my website. So I can take that, I can copy that, I can paste it, I can send it to somebody, and as long as somebody uses this link, I'm going to get credit for them purchasing product, or if they sign up, let's say later down the road, if they sign up, I'm going to get them to be part of my group, right? Pretty cool, huh? So it's a cool way of tying people to you. While we're on that subject, I'm going to go all the way down to referral links, and I'm going to click on referral links. Referral links are pretty cool. Not always do we want to send somebody to a network marketing or direct sales page. Maybe they just want to look at product. So I can come over here to our website, right? Scroll up to the top. Try that one more time. Scroll up to the top. I click on products, and I want to take somebody to LP9, right? So I'm going to take them down here. I want to take them to the LP9 product. So I'm going to copy this URL up here. So I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go back to my back office, and I'm going to paste it right up here, right? And then I'm going to click Create. Now it's going to tell me I've already created one because I have. It's this one down here that says LP9. Now, if I want to send somebody to that, or I've joined a forum on Facebook that's all about health and nutrition, I'm going to click to copy. This tells me it's already copied it to me. And I'm going to go on Facebook. Okay, so I'm going to go onto my Facebook page right here. And I want to go into Evolvair. and I want to, let's say, it's just a place that I found. I'm going to go into posts, and I'm going to go ahead and just post this for the heck of it in here, if I can get it to run quicker. So I go blah, 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 and hang on, this thing does not want to cooperate with me. What is going on here? Want to create a post. Okay, so I'll create a post. For some reason, Zoom doesn't work the fastest. Let me see if I can get that to reload. There we go. So I've got a post. I'm going to go ahead and it's going to think about letting me post, I guess. Maybe I'll go back to my personal page. I'll go ahead and do that. It'll probably be quicker and easier. Zoom kind of messes with us a little bit. So I go blah, blah, blah. I paste it in there, and I'm going to share it. Right? Now, anybody that clicks on that, it's going to take them right to my Evolvair page, and they can sign up. Right? Fair enough. Easy enough to understand, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I can see some folks sending me messages. If you can do that, just do it on my phone instead of Facebook so everybody doesn't see them. So there's that. Now, the one thing I want to show you guys is your genealogy chart. You can come in here and you can see who you have signed up, right? So I can come in here and I can see Mr. Tester. Hang on. Somebody has. Okay, good. Perfect. So I can go in here and I can see who's under Big Frank and just kind of work on that, right? So I can go in and look and see how my downline's doing. I can go into my wallet. I can go to my direct affiliates. This is really cool. I can come in here and I can help Ryan Wood out, and give him his link if I need to, or if he needs help, I can help him out. But one really cool thing about this is I can see what levels they're at as well. If I go to my user reports, I can look at this and I can see what level they're at, what percentage I'm getting off of them, that type of a thing. So that's kind of cool, right? I can see who they're referred to and so on and so forth. We'll have more training on that later. Payment details. The other thing we're going to have is your ProPay card that's going to go on here. That's how you're going to get paid. That's going to be coming online in a few weeks, so you'll be seeing that. And then a tools section will show up in here where you guys will be able to have tools and things like that to be able to look at. So that's the back office. I can't ramble on any more about it. But that's pretty much it, guys. I think we're pretty much done with this webinar, and we are 45 minutes into it. How cool is that?
That just means that we are honing our craft, Rob. Okay, so thank you so much for giving us this overview, this quick, down, right to the point, and that's the way that we should try to keep this, guys, out here. And as time goes on and we start to build our teams and get people onto these types of venues, right? We're going to keep this time short because your time is valuable. We realize that, and this is why we're going through what we're going through right now. So the first few of these are going to be long. We've been whittling this time down for the last 2 months, right? So we've been whittling this time down. Thank you again, Rob. What you're going to see here in the future, guys, is you're going to see Rob come on and mention specific things, give out awards, stuff like that. Rob, can you go over to the leadership of the company's leadership, please? Okay, so you can see if you go down to the About Us in Evolvair, you can see who's the leadership of the company and what we're here to do. My job is solely to help you build your teams, help with some product knowledge. If you have questions dealing with services or things like that, we encourage you to go to goodness gracious, customer service at evolvair.com. That's customer service at evolvair.com. And let me break real quick because I want to give you this last letter. The last letter is going to be V. It's going to be V as in Victor. Okay, so And I'll put this out here in just a couple of seconds after I get finished. So the vision of this company is to build this thing from the ground up with complete transparency for you, and we encourage you to pass that transparency on to your customers and your fellow reps that you're going to go through this wonderful journey with. Okay, so the word is help. I will help anybody. I don't care where you're at. I don't care what part of the comp plan that you're in. I don't care. You can pick up the phone, you can give me a call, or you can contact me via email, Facebook, or whatever. You can find me on Facebook. Look for John, that's John, Alfred, as in Batman's butler, Alfred. Last name is Taylor, Taylor. You'll see some black and white picture of me and then another picture of me diving, okay? So I'm not going to keep you anymore. We'll talk at another time about how this came to be, how Rob and I came to talk. It was an interesting 7-minute conversation. But right now, my job is to get you on and to get you off, okay, of the call. All right, so with that said, Rob, thank you so much for giving that information. If there are no more questions out there, we're going to wrap it up, and I don't see any questions in the Q&A. Susan, thank you so much. Sanan, thank you. Tina, thank you. Ken, Delon, Deborah, Colleen, Rich, thank you so much for chiming in. Shauna, thank you so much for chiming in. Susan, guys, Steve, thank you guys for all chiming in. And